Hey, what's going on, everybody? This your boy Jarrell Mason, better known as J Mason Some, and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Album Cover, where we get inside the entertainment industry with those in the know and give them their flowers while they're here to be celebrated. With me right now, I have a singer known as Mr. Voice, hailing from the Garden State. Was signed to Biv 10. We're going to talk about Biv 10, Arista, all the musical acts coming from Garden City. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause and welcome to Beyond the Album Cover to Mr. Voice, Cale. Cale, thank you for coming on to Beyond the Album Cover, bro.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Man, no problem. So I appreciate you taking the time
Thank you
to
so
come
much.
out
That
onto
was
the
a good.
podcast.
That's a good introduction, man.
Man,
Appreciate that.
Man, I tried to do my best impersonation of Donnie Simpson and those that came before me. So I did my homework by watching videos so religiously.
All right. That's what it is. That's what it is. Well, you did a great job. Did a great job. Love the introduction.
Yes,
Love
sir.
the introduction.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Hailing from the Garden State. Now, was music something that was born in you, or did you discover that later on in your formative years?
Actually, no. I come from a singing family. On my mother's side, you know, her father, which is my grandfather, and his siblings, they was raised, singing gospel music at a very, in their family. It was part of their upbringing, and I guess that passed on to me. And as I got a little older, I understood what gospel music was. I heard my grandfather sing, when I was younger. I hear my mom sing, my aunts, and his brothers and sisters as well. So I was raised singing gospel music at a very young age.
Okay. All right. So the gospel music that you were steered in your early years, was it primarily the gospel choirs or the male quartets, or both?
Actually both. I never really sung in any type of quartet. I was raised on listening to quartet singers like the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Lumsey Sisters, of that particular name. But the choirs definitely Thomas Whitfield, Milton Brunson, Love Fellowship, Hezekiah Walker, the list goes on. List goes on. I was raised listening to that type of music, at a very young age. And also meter hymns, which my grandfather was definitely good at. He could do the meter hymns very well. So that's how I really was introduced to gospel music. Listen to my grandfather sing all the time. So, he was really good at that, real good at that. And his father, which is my great grandfather, he was a preacher, So, they was good at them doing the meter hymns. And I guess it passed down from his father on down to me.
So you got that gift.
If that's what you want to call it, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If that's what you want to call it, yeah. I mean, it's a gift from God. So, singing and musical attributes, they're gifts given from God, So yeah, you can say that.
Right. So you know all about that brown AM FM clock radio with the AM gospel station blaring on Sunday morning and going to the church service. Absolutely. Where you're probably not getting out to 4 to 6 and you're getting a big Absolutely. Plate to hold you over between 11 a.m. worship service and 4 o'clock first Sunday service.
Absolutely. So I know all about those chicken dinners and radio stations and stuff like that. So absolutely. I know church was pretty much all that I did as a kid. So that's all I did at that time, yeah.
Right. And for those of you that don't know, church in some parts of the country is an all-day experience. I'm telling you, all day. So bring your hard hat, bring your pillow, bring your blanket. You'll probably get in maybe 9 for Sunday school, 11 o'clock worship service, maybe take an hour or two break, go in and have another meeting with the deacons, the mothers, usher board. Then you'll have a 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock Sunday service. And don't let it be Absolutely. When it's homecoming. Because when it's homecoming, Absolutely. It gets real out there in the church field, especially when they have that red and white picnic tablecloth ready for you in the back. Or if you can't have a picnic table to put your food on, you're eating it off the hood of your car.
Facts. Absolutely. And especially, I was raised Baptist, so I know all about that, bro. All about that. Mm-hmm. All about that. So yeah.
Yeah, I come from a preaching family myself. Dad's a pastor, and most of everybody on that side of the family is pastor. So grew up listening to Jackson Seven Airs, Williams Brothers, pretty much
Mhm.
anything that was on either Blackberry or Malico was getting played at my dad's or my grandma's.
Absolutely. So you probably familiar with the Willie Nelson, Willie Nelson and gospel keynotes and all them too.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Now, with you singing in church, did you get your start singing in the youth choir, or when was it that you first discovered outside of family that, man, I can sing and I want to pursue this for a living?
Um, I guess when I was marking my grandfather, when I think I was maybe like at the age of five, you know, or really music, like my actual gospel song that I sung was mimicking my grandfather, you know what I'm saying? Because he used to take my brother and my cousin, you know, when my cousin would come up from Florida, he would take us to the golf, golf course, and he would play golf with his sons and people that he worked with. Because my grandfather was a mason, you know what I'm saying? So he did hard work. So he would basically when he's on the golf course, he would basically sing, like I said, the gospel meter hymns. And I used to ask him all the time. I used to call him Big. I'm like, Big, what song is that? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what song is that? He's like, oh, boy, that's just a meter song. You don't know nothing about that. So when I heard him do this song, I mocked him. And he looked at me. He said, you don't know nothing about that, boy. You don't know nothing about that. And that's when I started taking a shine to gospel music. And that's when I really started, really knowing that I could sing and stuff like that. And I had a musical gift. My uncle bought me a guitar at a very young age. I think it was for my birthday. I think I was 6. My mom or dad, before they got saved, they were saved, but they were still living, living in the one foot in, one foot out at the time. They used to play a lot of records like Al Green, Aretha Franklin, Teddy Pendergrass, The Emotions, Jacksons, and those records were played all the time in my household. So I think they knew at a very young age that I caught on quick, but I caught on quicker with gospel music because, like I said, my grandfather was always singing all the time. So I would just mark him all the time. I used to just mock him all the time. He'd be like, just look at me like I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, and as I got older, I think I joined the choir, I think when I was 8, singing in the youth choir. I didn't join the mass choir until probably I was maybe 11. But I will always sing with the Little Jewels, the youth choir, of my church back in the day. Stuff like that, singing in certain gospel workshops and stuff like that at a very young age. Everything was at a very young age. So
Right.
So gospel, so music, I started singing, like I said, I started singing, at a very young age, and I was always influenced, with gospel music. And, that's pretty much what I was doing as a kid. So
Mm.
that was it. That was
Right.
it.
Right. So you had a mix of listening to gospel and listening to secular as well. How you're able to translate your skills, gospel singing, over to secular, even though there are two distinct styles of singing when going from gospel to R&B.
Well, actually, as I got a little older, singing, I was taught singing gospel music is you're spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. That's what gospel music really is. So it was a ministry in my family that they had to take it serious. You definitely had to be really taking that thing seriously. My mom, especially my mother and my father, they really didn't like me singing R&B music, because they thought it was more of, how can I say it? It was of the world. And my mother really never really wanted me to sing R&B music, you know what I'm saying? Neither did my grandmother either. They didn't really want me doing R&B music at all. So, because they felt that, God gave me a gift and that gift should be in the church and, lifting up Jesus' name, winning souls to Christ and everything. So every time I would sing, it was ministry. But when I did secular stuff, it was just a gig at the time, you know what I'm saying? For me, it was just about getting the girls, you know what I'm saying? When I realized I could really sing, and I can get a response, it was because I wanted the attention from the females, you know what I'm saying, at a very young age. When I realized I could do really well, I'm like, I like this. So it was basically about attention. But when you sing gospel, it's about ministry. It's about winning souls for Christ. It's about teaching people about the news of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? His story, his mission, what he was here set to do. And my family, my family took that very seriously. So they looked at me to take that very seriously as well. So I couldn't really mix the two all the time. You know, I was always in battle doing both. So, you know,
Right.
it's serious business. It's serious business when you talk to Jesus. So, you know, that's
Yeah.
definitely was great. That's definitely was like, you know, something in my household that was very serious about. My parents are very religious. So, you know, so they're very religious. So,
Right. Trust me. I understand. When I was with my dad during the summers, we used to have to sneak to watch Soul Train and BET. So
yeah,
I know all about that. Making sure you had your finger on that last button on that remote. Make sure TBN or INSP was on the TV.
facts. And honestly, to be honest, my mom, actually, my dad was more like, it was both. Like, I couldn't watch like the American Bandstand at the time, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't watch that. They really didn't want me watching Soul Train at the time, but you know, but every Saturday morning Soul Train was on, you know, so you watch it, you know, I was able to like see the Jackson, Teddy Pendergrass and stuff like that. And like, you know, we'll watch it for a little bit, then I'll turn it off, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, but I was always fixated on R&B music, you know what I'm saying? Because I really enjoyed listening to R&B music. I enjoyed listening to like, you know, male singers taking it to the next level, especially like Teddy Pendergrass and Marvin Gaye. Like I used to be, I used to be in love with Teddy Pendergrass when he used to sing. I'm like, yo, I want to do that. I want to do that. Because he commanded the audience, especially on video when he was on Soul Train. Like them girls, the girls just look at him. And I'm like, yo, I want to do that. And I'm like, boy, turn that off. You can't be watching that all the time. I'm like, oh man. But you know, we really couldn't watch too many secular things, you know, because I guess they didn't want me being influenced by the world. So
Right.
but as you know, it didn't work. It didn't work.
Right. So what was it like for you when you first heard these two pioneering and influential male gospel groups, the Winans and Commission, where they took the vocal stylings of R&B, meshed it with gospel, and gave gospel music a shot in the arm?
Oh man, I was smitten with when the Winans came on the scene. Like they came on the scene um when they sung Tomorrow, question is, and that made me really want to like be a like really like go hard. You know what I'm saying? Really go hard and understand what gospel music really is. You know, they made it wasn't like the traditional gospel music quartet singing that they were doing, especially Commission. Like you knew it was good, but it didn't sound like the traditional quartet singing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that type of sound. And I just felt like to me, it was like it made me want to really go like really hard with like really go hard with the music. You know what I'm saying? Like really go hard and like learn more about, you know, my craft and understand gospel music and understand the art of music. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, the wine is definitely, I think Marvin Wine is like, he is definitely the template of like male vocalists, straight up and down, gospel and secular. Like if you listen to a lot of singers today, you can hear a lot of influence from Marvin Winans. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely RL. You know what I'm saying? He definitely got like Marvin Winans colors. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Wanye. Wanye got, you know, colors from like, you know, Marvin Winans and Fred Hammond. Like if you study singers, KC too, like KC and JoJo, they definitely were like big. You could hear the Winans all in them. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And that
Right.
made me just want to get better. That just made me want to be better as a vocalist. So, you know, that was good for me. That
Right.
was good
Now,
for me.
right. Now, did you end up doing the talent show circuit in high school, cutting your teeth?
Yeah, I had. I had. I had. Um, I entered into a talent show in my hometown in Lakewood, New Jersey. I think I was maybe like 14, 15 at the time. And I was singing in a talent show with a bunch of grown people, you know, and I knew that I'm not gonna say I was better than them, but I knew that I could compete with grown people because I was singing at a very young age. I was already pretty much advanced as a singer, you know, because I was singing a lot of, you know, I was singing very young. And And don't you, I think what really got me upset is that I lost. And the competition that I was competing with was like people that was like 30 years old, 40, 50 years old. I'm like, I think I was the youngest one in that talent show. And I was so hurt and crushed, I didn't even place. So that made me really like, work harder, you know what I'm saying? Because I really wanted to be good at what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? And that's what put me in like, in this like training mode. Like, I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to learn everything about what it is to be a singer, what it was to be a great male vocalist, what it took to like be at a level where you could still be effective at my age. Because my voice at that time was like mature for my age. And I think that's why they placed me in that category with older people. And it was like, oh, come on, man. Like, I'm like, you would think, that they would give me a pass because of my age, but they didn't do that. But that was God just prepared me for something greater. And it helped me because it put a barrier in my back to be better. Because like, I would listen to like, I would listen to like all the oldies, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke, Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder. And at that time, you know what I'm saying, I was definitely big on New Edition. So I would listen to a lot of those secular records and try to incorporate it with the sound that I had as a kid, and I thought I did good, but I don't think I did good enough to like beat those guys that was in front of me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, it's all good. I mean, I think I cried. I think I cried after that too. I think I cried. I was crushed. I said, nah, this ain't never gonna happen again. This ain't never gonna happen again. So, that's when I put my hat into the ring and like, listen, I'm definitely gonna get this recording contract before I graduate high school. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely gonna get this recording contract, and I'm gonna sing every gospel song. I'm gonna sing every R&B song. I'm gonna be in everybody's face. You know what I'm saying? Until they can't get on my nerves. Until I get on their nerves. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to be better, and that really pushed me to be better.
So you wanted all the smoke?
Yeah, I wanted it all. It didn't matter to me because at that time, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there was some great singers that was around my way too. There was a lot of great singers. But I just knew I wanted it more. I wanted it more. You know what I'm saying? So I stayed in a lot of churches. I stayed in a lot of workshops. I constantly would like be at home, like, you know what I'm saying, listening to the radio late at night when my dad and mom tell me to turn off the radio. I had the headphones just listening. You know what I'm saying? Listening to all type of gospel artists, especially like I said, Winans and Commission at that time. You know what I'm saying? I would listen to so many Daryl Coley. I listen to a lot of people, man, to like, formulate my sound and how I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And I just kept practicing, man. I wanted it. I wanted it. I wanted it. I wanted it. I wanted it.
Yeah, you got to have that hunger, and you definitely cannot give up when you're on that journey, because once you get there, you appreciate the ride because you put in the work, you grind it. And you mentioned New Edition earlier, and that beautifully segues to my next question. How did you end up getting signed to Biv 10? Was it where you personally passed your demo to Mike, or someone within Mike's camp passed the demo and he heard it? So how did you end up coming to the attention of Michael Bivins?
Well, how I met Mike was through my high school friend named Mark Echo. He and I were like similar, like, kids from Lakewood. He's if you heard about Mark Echo, he's like, he had his own clothing line at the time, Echo Unlimited. He's the founder of Complex Media, the magazines that you see today, that you see and read about. And we were childhood friends. Like, he was Jewish and I was Black. I was Jewish and Black kid. We had similar, dreams that what we wanted to do. And he was, at the time, he was doing like this airbrush, like, graffiti stuff, like with jackets and clothes and that particular nature. So I think one day I went over to his house and I think we was watching Video Soul. And that's when Michael Bivins introduced ABC and Boyz II Men to the world. And Mark said, well, you could do the same exact thing. And matter of fact, that was a year later. I think it was a year. Yeah, it was a year later after I lost that talent show. And Mark said, you could do the same exact thing, man. Like, you could do the same exact thing that Boyz II Men did, go behind, go to a show and sing for them and you'll get on. I am nah, man, I ain't doing nothing like that. I was like, he ain't thinking about me like that. But I was a big New Edition fan. Anybody that knows me, I was a big New Edition. Like I love the group New Edition. And I was already kind of scared anyway, too, because like, New Edition was they had a very big part of my life, you know what I'm saying? Because as a kid, a lot of kids used to tease me because of my name, and the way I looked and stuff like that. And because I was artsy, you know what I'm saying? I was gifted in the music and stuff like that. So I would just cry sometimes in my room and just listen to New Edition all the time. You know what I'm saying? Cool Now, Candy Girl, all their classic records, you know what I'm saying? And their music that got me through. So when Mark brought it to my attention, like, we could do that, I'm like, man, I ain't doing that. So it was a show that was in the summertime that this when BBD was hot at the time. They was on the tour with CNC Music Factory, MTV sponsored with CNC Music Factory, Tony, and BBD was the headlining act. And so Mark said, well, I'm gonna do the jacket for Biz. So he did an airbrush jacket for Mike. He said, and when I do the jacket, you can do a demo tape. I'm like, man, I can't do no demo tape, man. I don't even know. I don't know the first thing about. Like, I've been in the studio before, but I didn't know how to make a tape. So I just sung a tape in my parents' house. I think it was I think I was singing I think I did a song that I did in the studio with a group that I used to sing with back in high school. And then I sung an a cappella song of God on the tape. And we had an idea of just pitching the idea of him going backstage with his sister and everybody, because we had front row seats to the concert, and give him the jacket and stuff like that. And Mark at the time was sick, so he didn't go to the concert. I went with his sister. So she gave him the jacket, front row, boom. The next day he called, I think he called Mark to thank him for the jacket. So he said that he would be at the Sheraton, in, I believe it was in Ocean in New Jersey at the time. Ocean, I think it was Ocean or Eaton, one of the two, but it was a Sheraton hotel. They was gonna be there staying. So Mark told me, you know what I'm saying, let's go to the Sheraton, and you gonna sing for Mike. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. He said, nah, this is the time, man. It's the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get on with my airbrush stuff, and you gonna get on it, with your music and stuff. I said, okay, man, if you think it's gonna work, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I already put the demo tape in the jacket of the concert of the night before. So Mark and I took his mom's car. We went up to the Sheraton Hotel, and Mark was like, he was more outgoing, like, yo, Ben, did you get the jacket? It's Mark Echo. It's Mark. He said, yeah, I got the jacket. Why you care? This is exactly what why you care? Because they just come, because they did a 2-night tour. So I guess they was already tired. So, what did you listen to the demo? He said, what demo tape? Of my boy, Cale. No, I ain't listened to that tape. Then Mark said, go ahead and sing. Boom. So I started singing. And I think it was Ricky and Ronnie. That was Ricky, Mike's bodyguards, and the hotel security. Everybody stopped. And they listened to me sing. And then the song I sung was Let's Chill by God. And he said, how long have I been singing? Who was my influence? I told him it was them and many others. Who was my favorite vocalist? I told him Sam Cooke, Johnny Hathaway, People Bryson, Johnny Gill. I was telling him who my influence was. He said, all right, man, well, I'm going to call you next week. I'm like, man, he's not going to call me. He's not going to call. He didn't even call next week. He called 2 days afterwards. And he said, y'all want to sign to my production company. I'm about to form this thing called the East Coast Family. And I want you to be a part of the group. You know what I'm saying? I have some other singers that I feel that you can help in the group. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing a different group too. And that group consists of Yvette Brown, who we all know, who she's definitely been I guess she's an actress now, and she's doing her thing. Yvette Brown, Hayden Haju, he's from Ohio as well. Great vocalist, and Big Ant, one of his stylists and singers that he had signed, and the group was going to be called Different, but we was all going to do our own solo ventures outside of the group as well. And Mike just decided, I think this would be a good thing for all y'all, and you're going to be a part of the East Coast family, and welcome to the family. That's how I got my introduced. my introduction to the music industry.
Man, that's crazy. So that goes to show people, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You got to have your moment practicing so that when that opportunity presents itself, you can just walk right on in through the door. And it sounded like early on, Biv was building a profile for you, knowing your influences so you can try to figure out what style will work for you.
Right.
And he had the mindset of the new edition philosophy where I'm going to have you all in a group, then splinter off into solo acts, which will benefit the whole, which is the group.
Yeah, I think that was his vision, and I believe it could have worked, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, I didn't care. As long as I got on, that's all I really cared about at the time. You know what I'm saying? I was 16 going on 17 years old. So I was like, I had a plan. So you know what I'm saying? So it didn't really matter to me. As long as I got to the door, I was thankful and I was happy. And I think I was like, I think I was the only one from my city that ever did it like that. Because other singers and musicians did it differently, like Bruce Springsteen, John Bon Jovi, like certain people like in the Jersey area, they had different stories. But I think I was like the first one to ever do it like that, to go right to an iconic figure like Michael Bivins and get put on that way. So
right,
because I had, mind you, I had no skill set when it came to like recording songs. I didn't know how to put a song together. It was just straight raw talent. That a guy gets the talent. So. I didn't have I wasn't really, I was schooled, but I really wasn't schooled like the rest of the artists were, like the John Bon Jovi, the Bruce Springsteen, the Whitney Houstons. You know what I'm saying? They had, they were being prepped to do that. They had some guidance. They knew how to record songs. They knew how to sing with a bunch of people and things like that. I didn't have that. I basically was singing in church, singing with a few gospel cats, you know what I'm saying, that I grew up with, that mentored me and stuff like that. Maybe the group that I was singing with when I was a kid in high school, and that was pretty much my musical groundwork. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like really, I didn't have like a plan. I didn't have a plan like the rest of the artists that I just named. It was just God. It was a God moment. It definitely was a God moment for me. God moment.
Right. So what was it like for you once you got signed to Biv 10? You go from being a fan and being around these guys and just seeing Mike's vision and his business acumen for, finding talent, marketing, and just being in the mix of that.
Oh man, I was starstruck, man. Mind you, being around him, actually being around him, Ronnie and Ricky, Bobby, Johnny Gill. I was around them a lot, you know what I'm saying, because they was always around all the time. And I was like a kid in the candy store, man. I was like, and at the time, you got to understand, everybody was hot at the time. Bobby was hot, Ralph was hot, Mike was hot because he just put out Boyz II Men and ABC, and then he just put out Brains. Like, I was seeing everyone and anybody that was in the music industry that I never thought I would ever see, from celebrity basketball players, baseball players, actors. I saw pretty much everybody, because everybody knew Mike, and he was loved by a lot of people in the industry and still is to this day. So it's like, I was just starstruck, man. And I had a big head at the time too, man, because I was with the group that consoled me at a very young age. So I was around that. So God definitely gave me something that nobody else could ever have. Like, to be put on by one of your childhood heroes, you couldn't tell me nothing, man. I was having the time of my life, man. I was having the time of my life. You understand? And to have the opportunity to talk to Johnny Gill, you know what I'm saying? I was like, that was priceless. Bobby Womack, I got a chance to see Bobby Womack. Who else? I think I met Dr. Dre at the time. You know what I'm saying? Teddy Riley. I met Teddy when Mike was doing work with Boyz II Men, because I think he was trying to get Bernard Bell at the time to work with Boyz II Men, but he ended up getting Dallas Austin, from what was told to me, and that's how Dallas Austin came into fruition with the ABC project and Boyz II Men project. Like, he was trying to get different people to give, Boyz II Men and ABC a sound, but Dallas Austin, I met Dallas Austin as well. I met a lot of people, man, through Mike, man. Met a lot of people, and I was just enjoying the moment, just enjoying the moment, just enjoying the moment.
Yeah, I would enjoy it too. Make sure I tell the ladies, don't forget the pumps and your backstage pass. If you know the Heartbreak
Fact though,
album, you know what I'm talking about.
fact though, yeah, absolutely, man. So that was the blueprint, man. Like, that album itself, like, the Heartbreak album definitely put a barrier in my back, bro. So just to have, if you could just imagine just being with somebody that you idolized for such a long time, and you have the opportunity to sit down and be in the house with them and eat with them and play basketball with them. It's like, that was a childhood dream of mine, man. If I didn't do anything else in life, the fact that I was with New Edition, that was it for me. And if anybody that knew me from my hometown and just growing up knew that I was the biggest New Edition fan. So that was it for me. That was it for me.
Right. So you mentioned Bernard Bell earlier. Can we just talk about his impact in music, with his work with Teddy Riley, and then of course his sister, Regina Bell, who is no slouch herself.
Facts. I know Bernard. It's funny because I met Bernard years before us being members at our church that we was at that we was at now. You know what I'm saying? Because we both go to the same church, but before we was like brothers in Christ going to church, I met him through Mike. You know what I'm saying? And he was like this musical genius from Jersey. Everybody wanted to be around Bernard, and I was like, you know what I'm saying? If I ever get a chance to work with Bernard, so that would be dope too. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't work out that way. But years later, when I decided to give my life back to go, get back into church and stuff like that. When I moved further up North Jersey, I just needed I needed to be a part of some type of organized setting, another church, where I can get spiritually fed. And the church I'm at now is called Community Baptist in Inglewood, New Jersey. And that's when I'm reconnected with Bernard, and we were just talking about, he remembered me, I remember him. We talked about, our time in the music industry and stuff like that. And to me, honestly, Bernard don't get enough respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was responsible for a lot of big records that a lot of people don't know. He wrote for Hot Five, he wrote for Guy, he wrote for Glenn Jones, and he definitely wrote for Michael Jackson. So he's definitely like a gem. And I always said that if I ever get a song out of him and Teddy producing it, I'm out of here. That was my mindset at the time. But it didn't work out that way, so it's all good. But Bernard is dope. He's a musical prodigy. He definitely is a genius.
Right.
Definitely a genius.
Definitely a genius that don't get enough credit. Now, I believe he was originally supposed to have been in Today. This was before they got signed to MCA.
That's a fact. Actually, they were signed to Motown. And I think him and Bub were really tight. Well, they always tight, but him and Bub had the relation, Big Bub. You know what I'm saying? Bubba Lee Drayford. They kind of grew up together. But I think Teddy saw something in Bernard that was like undeniable. Like, he saw more than just Bernard just being a part of the group. I don't know what happened, but I just know that he just started working with Teddy. You know what I'm saying? He was just doing pretty much everything with Teddy. And when I figured out that it was him that wrote that song for High Five, I Like, by Tony, by the late great Tony Thompson, I was like, yo, Bernard wrote that? Like, whoa. And then when I found out later on that he wrote Remember the Time, I was like, are you crazy? And if you get a hit record with the King of Pop, that's big. That's big. And he was that dude. He was that dude, man. And I like I said, he don't get enough credit where credit is due. And also too, later on in the years, he had an opportunity to work with Jaheim as well. So, Jaheim is doing well. He's an artist, you know what I'm saying? He pretty much gave Jaheim his sound as well. So Bernard's the whole crowd. He a whole crowd.
Right.
Shout out to Bernard Bell.
Yeah, definitely big shout outs to Bernard Bell. And we mentioned some of the acts that came out of Jersey, like The Boss, Bruce Springsteen, Bon Jovi, Bernard Bell, Regina Bell, Big Bub, Riff, Redman, Naughty, Queen Latifah, Lords of the Underground. Did you feel that being from Jersey, that you have to have an extra something about yourself to prove? Because people in New York is looking at Jersey like, that's Jersey.
Yeah, that definitely was the vibe. You know what I'm saying? If you was from like, well, Inglewood, New Jersey is close to New York. You know what I'm saying? They like right by Harlem. You know what I'm saying? But if you was like from South Jersey, Central Jersey, you know what I'm saying? They definitely looked at you like you're crazy because Bruce Springsteen, he's from Freehold, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Lakewood. I'm originally from Lakewood, New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? And Bon Jovi, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's from Edison. So it's like they look at you funny if you've like from like South, like if you're further down, like going down like South. But they always used to think that Jersey didn't really have no dope singers and or no great musicians or great songwriters, but that's far from the truth. You know, John Bon Jovi is one of the biggest pop acts in the game. Like, you know, at that time, the same thing with Bruce Springsteen. Like they're legends, you know, and forget about like, you know, the contribution that Bruce Springsteen had at the time. Like he's responsible for a lot of great people, man. You know, the E Street Band, they was a whole problem. You know, when I you know that from what I know, you know what I'm saying, like you can never like count somebody's musical attributes out. It doesn't matter what part of Jersey you're from, you know what I'm saying? If you got it, you got it. You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, they never really gave like people that live further down, like down the shore, a lot of respect, you know. So when I got on, you know what I'm saying, like I was like, I'm gonna change all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna change all that. But you know, it didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. But you know, but I'm thankful though. But like I said, I was one of the first to do it that way. Bruce Springsteen was like one of the biggest artists of all time, you know what I'm saying? Like and John Bon Jovi as well. Like, you know, there's some gems in South Jersey and Central Jersey. There's some gems,
Right.
You know, it was a lot of competitive, a lot of competitiveness with like South and Central Jersey, but up north cats, like, you know, because Whitney's from Newark, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're from Newark, you know, you definitely have to be singing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because that's where pretty much all the singers are in Newark. That's a fact. All the great musicians are like from like Jersey City, Inglewood, Teaneck, Patterson, you know, like the musicians, like the musical part of it all. There's a lot of great musicians around that. And so if you was like on that type of time, you definitely had to bring it. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of great musicians that come from up north, man. A lot of great musicians.
Right.
So
right.
it is what it is.
Right. And I believe Frankie Valli's from Jersey, Faith Evans
from Jersey City.
From Jersey, and then also too, I believe Sugar Hill Records was based out of Jersey too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sylvia Robinson, she's from Inglewood. Absolutely. A legend, you know what I'm saying? You know, God bless her dad. You know, Sylvia, you know, she's matter of fact, she went to my church too.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like she went to community as well. I'm cool with her granddaughter, you know what I'm saying? I'm Leah Robinson and you know, her sons and all that. So I know who they are. You know, they fly with me and I'm fly with them.
Right. And I'm glad Sylvia Robinson is going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. So
Fact.
big ups. So if it wasn't for Sugar Hill Records, we wouldn't have commercial hip hop on wax. No
if it wasn't
Sugar
for
Hill
her,
game, no nothing.
That's a fact. And a lot of people don't know that. Like if it wasn't for her, none of this hip hop stuff be going on right now. That's a fact. Fact though. Do your research. That's history. That's facts. Jersey, and that's funny because like everybody thought that hip hop started out in the Bronx, and that's true. But she was the first label to launch hip hop. You feel me? And that's from Jersey, so you know, like can't be fronting on us.
Right?
Can't front on Jersey.
Definitely got a black woman in the 70s putting out commercial hip hop. Yeah. She went from Sylvia and Mickey, Love Strange, Pillow Talk to getting commercial hip hop put on wax, and to do it in an era where there was hardly any woman that was running the label.
That's a fact. They gave a lot of women grief back in those days. And they still kind of do to this day too. But back then, absolutely, especially black women on top of that too. That's a fact. Definitely a fact.
Right. So let's go ahead and let's jump forward. So when you did All for One, One for All, was that the first time that all the acts from Biv 10 met each other, or did you all meet each other prior to the video shoot?
Well, I met Yvette and Hayden. Well, first I met Yvette at the Apollo when Boyz II Men and ABC was at the Apollo. They was performing for the Apollo at that night, and Mike, you know, they was there. So I met Yvette, that was my first time meeting her in New York. And we kicked it off, it was love. And I think I met Ant. I met Big Ant in New York as well too. I met Hayden later. I think I met him when we went out to LA. We had when Mike wanted us to all be at Johnny Gill's house for his birthday party. And that's when I met all the acts out there as well. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I think Sudden Impact, the white guys, they was in New York too. I met them too. But we all met up pretty much at Johnny Gill's house for Johnny Gill's birthday party because Mike wanted us all to be there to celebrate Johnny's birthday party. And that's when I met Bobby Brown for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Bobby, I didn't see Ralph at the time, you know what I'm saying? But when I saw Bobby, I was like, whoa, this Bob. Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was all in his glory, bro. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of people there at Johnny's party. I think Arsenio Hall was there. Arsenio Hall, Tim Hardaway at the time. It was a lot of celebrities at Johnny's house, and he wanted all of us to be there. You know, and we all sung that night. You know, Boys and Men sung, I sung, Yvette sung, Hayden sung, Ant sung. You know, Boys and Men definitely sung. You know, so it was a great. So Johnny Gill sung. Like it was dope. It was dope. You know, I was nervous too that night too, singing in front of all those people. So I was like, well, I'm singing for all these people. You know, so it was dope. It was dope.
Yeah, definitely a dope moment, and could definitely be a pressure breaker if you're not ready for it because you're in a room full of heavy hitters.
And that's exactly at Johnny House. A lot of heavy hitters there. It was a lot of unsung hype that was there. Industry cats as well. A lot of Motown art. I think, matter of fact, MC Trouble, the late MC Trouble, she was there that night too. She was there. She was at the house. So it was dope, man. It was dope. You know, it was dope. And when we did the one for All Song, we did that in Maryland. We recorded the song, and that was interesting in itself because, like, I was like, you know, because Mike wanted us to all write our parts. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, I was like, I mean, you know, I was green around the gills. Now, you know, you're nervous because you really don't, you know, you're nervous. So he just ended up asking, you know, I think all of us did something. It wasn't what Mike thought it would be. So he just told Boys and Men to write our verses. And that was it, you know, and that was it.
Right. And that song became a big smash hit. So after that, were you kind of hoping like, hey, let's go into the studio so that we can start recording the album? And how did you find to buy yourself time while waiting for the next move?
Well, I definitely thought I was the next one up. You know what I'm saying? Because well, I felt in my mind that, you know, I was just as good as Boys to Men. You know what I'm saying, at the time, you know, vocally wise, but I wasn't mentally ready. Because I was featured on the song twice. No other artist was. So in my mind, I'm thinking that, you know, like I might be the next up, you know what I'm saying? But it didn't work out that way. So Mike had us all, well, he had myself, Hayden, and Yvette. We was out in LA for a little while living with Big Ant at the time, I guess trying to get us to gel as a group. And as time went on, nothing materialized from that. And like, you know, we didn't, I don't know, it just didn't work out the way we thought it would. So it is what it is. But I constantly stayed like, you know, work sharpening my skills vocally, you know what I'm saying, as well as Hayden too. Hayden was dope. Hayden, he's a great singer. You know, and so was Yvette. Yvette was a good singer as well too. It was a lot of great talent. But it just didn't materialize the way that that we all thought it would.
Right.
Thanks, happened.
Right. And how were you able to pivot once things didn't go as planned with Biv 10? And then how did you find yourself in your next situation after Biv 10?
Well, actually, I took a break for like a year because I was really hurt behind that. You know what I'm saying? Because Mike, you know, he let me go. So I told Mark all about it and stuff like that. And you know, he said, well, you know, just take a year off, you know what I'm saying? If you feel like you want to pursue it again, you know what I'm saying, pursue your career, you know, come back and see him. You know what I'm saying? This is Mark already took off with his clothesline already, so he's doing very well. And he asked me, did I know MC Serge? I said, I know who Serge is, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, Serge was at Johnny Gill's house the day I sung at the birthday party. So he remembered me. You know, he was at, I met Serge back then when he was at Johnny Gill's house when I was with Mike at the time. But I think he was working with Mark for promotions at the time, Serge. And if anybody who don't know who Serge is MC Serge is a white MC from Queens. And he was a part of a group called Third Base. And he was responsible for discovering Nas. He put Nas on, you know, one of the greatest MCs of our generation. And at the time, Mark and Serge had an agreement, like a business arrangement for him when he was working for Mark, for Echo Unlimited. And I guess Mark told him my story and stuff like that. And Serge remembered who I was. And Serge said he wanted to take me on. And he said if he can't get me a deal within the next 6 months, we'll just part ways. But at that time, you know what I'm saying, he shot me to Arista Records, and I knew Drew Dixon, who was an A&R at Def Jam at the time. And he brought me to her. I remember that. And then I think she left Def Jam to go to Arista. But Drew always believed in me, as well as Serge did too. So when she got her situation at Arista Records, she said she wanted me to sing for Clive Davis. And Clive, if any man who don't know who Clive Davis is, he's like one of the biggest music moguls of our generation. Like he definitely had the soundtrack of our lives with Aretha Franklin, Bruce Springsteen, the Eurythmics, who else? Brooks and Dunn, Kenny G, Carlos Santana. Like, he was responsible for a lot of big artists at the time, you know what I'm saying? And she wanted me to sing for Clive Davis. So they set up a meet for me to sing for Clive Davis in his office, and I was signed that same day.
Wow.
Off the rip.
That's crazy. Singing for the man with the golden ears. Now, if you have not read his autobiography or seen the documentary, check it out, because Clive Davis, he knows how to make acts and artists, but the one skill that he has that I don't think nobody else can beat him with is knowing how to pick songs from demos that are being shopped around. Because I believe when I was looking at the documentary for him, he had played the demo of I Want to Dance with Somebody, and originally it was intended for Olivia Newton-John, but he heard it was like, nah,
that's right.
That's Whitney. Give it to Whitney.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, like, when I first met him, that's all he talked about was Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston and Al Green. He talked about the big records, you know what I'm saying? How the song meets the artist and how the artist has to bring the song to life. And he always said, well, this is what I got from him. There's a song out there for everybody, even if you're not the greatest vocalist. There's a song out there for everybody. And he told me the story about Barry Manilow. In the office, he said, as if anybody know, Barry Manilow's like one of the greatest composers of our time. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's definitely a musical genius. But at the time, matter of fact, Barry Manilow was on the Arista. And he said that Barry Manilow was doing all his own music and stuff like that. He didn't have a hit. And I forgot what song it was, but Clive brought him a song that he heard that he thought that would be great for Barry Manilow. And when he played that song for him, Barry Manilow didn't want to sing that song, but Clive made him sing it. And I think it's the song, I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the song that makes special things. That song put him on. And when that song put him on, then it introduced him to all his other stuff, like his music, you have to have a song to set you up so the industry knows who you are as well as your audience. And when Clive told me that, I was like, whoa. So that's what Mike was talking about with Boyz II Men, with End of the Road, because they didn't want to sing End of the Road. If they didn't sing that song, End of the Road, Boyz II Men, they would not be that big group that they are today. That's a fact. And it's a song out there for everybody. You know, it's just like, and Clyde definitely knew what a hit song was. He knew what a song was for an artist. Like he's good at that. He's good at that. You know, I just wish he could have found me a good one. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good.
Right, definitely a master at that. And then also upon reading his autobiography, when he had Ray Parker Jr. and radio signed to Arista, he had the idea of, hey,
That's
let's
right.
make R&B that's good for crossover, and let's work double markets, bite the apple twice. And he had that same formula with Whitney, of course, when she debuted in '85, smash crossover
Facts.
R&B pop record, and then we all know the story, what happened after that.
To the moon. She went to the moon. Went to the moon. You know, so listen, all I could tell you was just that, you know, when you have a personality like that and a mogul like that in your corner who is passionate about the music just as much as you are, let them run with it. Let just sit back and let them mold you. I think at the time, you know what I'm saying, Clive is he's just a genius, man. He just like if he believes in you, if he truly believes in you, he's going all out for you. He's going out. He's going all out for you. And he believed in Whitney that much. He believed in Annie Lennox and what you said, Ray Parker Jr. and also Jermaine Jackson. That one of my greatest vocalists because he loved Jermaine Jackson. He thought that Jermaine was. I think what he told me, he said Jermaine is one of the underrated male vocalists of this generation because he was shot. He was overshadowed by Michael. But he said Jermaine is like a musical genius, man. He said Jermaine tone, and I always loved Jermaine's tone. I was like, yo, this dude is like amazing. Like if you sit back and like listen to Jermaine Jackson sing, you're like, yo, he can really sing. Like he's a whole problem.
Yep.
He's a whole problem.
Jermaine was a problem. And if it wasn't for Jermaine, we wouldn't have Switch.
No, that's a fact. Absolutely. And also not Switch, also Switch and DeBarge.
Mm-hmm.
DeBarge because Switch is, because Bobby DeBarge was the brother of L. DeBarge,
Mm-hmm.
So he was instrumental in DeBarge getting that deal at Motown as well. Right. So Jermaine, like he had an ear. He had a good ear. A good ear, man. Good ear.
Right. And you mentioned one trait that I don't think gets said enough when you're signed to a label. You got to have somebody that's going to be championing for you, because if you don't have nobody at the label championing for you, nobody else is going to believe in you. And then especially come time when you may have a switch in label heads and they want to bring their own people, you're not going to have anybody when a new regime comes in to champion for you. So how big was it for you once you got signed to Arista to make sure that you had somebody in your corner?
Oh man, I mean, Drew was in my corner and so was Serge, but it wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? Like you really need that person that's really advocating for you. Cause like I think in my situation, I believe Clyde believed in me, but because I was a no-name artist and I didn't have a track record at the time, yeah, he knew I was signed with Mike and stuff like that. He knew I was part of the East Coast family, but I wasn't priority. You know what I'm saying? And what that means is that I didn't have a hit record like a Boyz II Men or like a BBD or Johnny Gill or Ralph Tresvant. I didn't have that much of a track record. If I had a track record, it would have been more easy for me to like get that push from Clyde, because at the time he had his hands with Deborah Cox, Monica. He was trying to get Whitney's project off the ground again. Who else? I think it was Andrea Martin, who passed away. Andrea Martin, like he had a plethora of great artists at that time. I forgot Blue Cottrell, he just signed her. You know what I'm saying? Like he was into those female artists at the time, and also Next. Like he had his hand in a lot of situations, and they already had a proven track record. And if you don't have a proven track record when you're signed to a major label, you definitely gonna get lost in the sauce. And even though Serge was, who he was, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't an R&B head, he wasn't a pop head, he was an MC, he was a hip hop artist, you know what I'm saying? And Drew at the time, you know what I'm saying, she was pretty much working for the label, she was making sure that the other, so like I was kind of lost in the sauce and everything, so it's important to have that person champion for you, and if you're signed to a major label and the label don't seize the vision in you, you will get dropped. It's a fact. You will get dropped. And if you don't have somebody that's really being that champion for you, like really like, nah, don't do that. Let me put him with this person, or let me put him with this person. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely gonna get lost in the sauce. So you definitely gotta have, listen, you definitely gotta have something of some type of power to have the label want to like buy into your vision. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing that Clyde said to me, like, if you sing this song, you're out of here. But at the time, he was taking certain producers off of my project, like Organized Noise, to help Andrea Martin, Rodney Jerkins, who's from Jersey. I know Rodney very, very well. Darkchild. He took him off my project to work with, Monica and Deborah Cox, so it was like, I didn't have a chance, you know what I'm saying? So, right. And then Wyclef too, like Wyclef was supposed to have worked with me as well. He took him off the project to work with Whitney, with the My Love thing, and I also put, matter of fact, I was supposed to sing, I demoed the song with Lauryn Hill that ended up, was given to CeeLo Brown, CeeLo Green, CeeLo, everybody knows who CeeLo, he's part of the Goody Bob. He ended up doing a record with Lauryn Hill for Carl Santana's project. I demoed that song, Do You Like the Way It's Going Down? So I demoed it right in Lauryn Hill's house, you know what I'm saying? But it was given to CeeLo to sing instead of me. So wow. It's all good.
Right. And that was with at the Booger Basement, right? When you demoed the song with Lauryn Hill, was that at Booger Basement?
Absolutely. And she's a genius too. She's a whole problem. Lauryn Hill is a whole problem. And she told me, she said, Kyle, she said, you just one song away. She told me, she said, you are one song away from being out of here. You're just one song away. Just one song away. And I was like, really? She said, oh yeah, absolutely. She said, you just one song away, Kyle. Just one song away.
Right. Now, right. Now, did you have any run-ins with Salaam Remi or Vincent Hubert in the Three Boys from Newark?
I met them a long time ago when I was with Mike, with Vincent Herbert and all them, you know what I'm saying? I was supposed to work with them when I was on Biff 10. You know what I'm saying? I was supposed to have worked with them, but it didn't materialize to that. And when I found out that LaShawn Daniels was a part of that, you know what I'm saying? I didn't realize it. I'm like, I know all these cats. And these are all cats I grew up in church with, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know LaShawn, like, person, but I knew who he was, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I was supposed to have worked with these cats a long time ago, but it didn't work out that way. But I ran across them, though. Matter of fact, I took a picture with Vincent Herbert and all them cats back in the day when I was with Biff 10. So, I got it in my photo gallery. So, I know who they are. They know me very well.
Right.
Know me very well.
Right. You mentioned Andrea Martin earlier, may she rest in peace, who I felt was criminally underrated as an artist. Her album, very, very dope. And I believe she wrote You're the One for SWV along with other tracks for other artists.
Absolutely. Her biggest record, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that she did with In Vogue. What's it gonna be? Woo. There'll be some love making, heartbreaking, soul shaking. Yeah, she wrote that for them. Yeah, that was a big record. Mm-hmm. She's definitely underrated. I think she's one of the greatest. Clyde used to always say that he looked at her as the Gladys Knight of our generation. He called her Gladys Knight.
Right.
He called her Gladys Knight.
Right. And then two female R&B singers, also prolific songwriters too, that I don't think gets talked about enough. This person was the secret sauce to all the stuff Teddy and Bernard Bell did. Tammy Lucas, and then also Mary Brown.
Oh, Mary, she's from Jersey, Mary Brown. Yeah.
If you don't know Mary Brown, look up Abstract, look up Eminem. And if you look at the Guy's Groove Me video, there were the girls dancing in the background while Guy was on stage, I believe.
That's right. Mary Brown. Absolutely. And Tammy Lucas, she was, I'm not, if I don't want to assume, but I think she had a big hand in on the that song that she did with Teddy and Heavy D. Is it good to you? I like Is it good to you? Yeah, I think she wrote that. I think
Yeah,
she wrote that.
yeah, she wrote that, and then Heavy D put it out, and then she put it out because I believe her version was on the soundtrack for Juice.
That's right. When my love comes down. Yeah, she earthed that. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
she the whole problem. I thought that she was gonna have a banging project at the time, but you know, this industry is funny, man. It's funny because she's definitely a very underrated singer. And if I'm not mistaken, also too, I think she also wrote that song with on the Blackstreet project too. Let's make tonight the night. Oh, I think she wrote that with them with Chauncey Black. Yeah, I think so. I
Mm.
think so. Yeah, she's the whole problem, bro. She a whole problem. A
A
whole problem.
monster. Now, back to when you were singing on the gospel circuit, did you run across any future would-be stars while singing on the gospel circuit that later became household names?
Oh yeah. I've actually I met Andre Crouch at a very young age. Sandra Crouch. Um, of course, I met Commission, Fred Hammond at one time. Had an opportunity to sing background for Hezekiah Walker. Who else? Hezekiah Walker. Who else? Yolanda Adams. Um, you know, just background stuff. But running into had like having like, you know, a conversation with it, kicking it with. I had more of a conversation with Sicardi Cortez. He was at the time one of my boys. His name's Anthony Miller. He was playing for, I think he was playing for this gospel group out there in Jersey at the time, and I think he was playing back up. He's a lead. He was playing keys for one of the gospel artists at the time, and James Fortune was out there. So I had an opportunity before Sicardi was who he is now. Me and him chopped it a few times. Like, you know, I thought he was like, I just thought that he's like one of the, I think he was, to me personally, he's the next generation of what gospel music is going to be as male vocalist. You know what I'm saying? He's a whole problem. Zacardi is a whole problem. I met Lowell Pye before. Had an opportunity to meet, who else? Kirby Brown, who used to sing with Love Fellowship with Hezekiah Walker. Um, I mean, I met a lot of people like, you know, in the gospel circuit, you know what I'm saying? But like, I just never really like, I was never like, you know, I'm gonna say it I'm not trying to say it in a bad way, but I just, it just wasn't my, I wasn't really like all like I was with New Edition. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, these are people that I came across with, you know, singing and stuff like that. And, you know, whatever. But I always say, I told Cardi, I said, bro, you're gonna be a whole problem. He said, you think so, Doc? I said, yeah, you're gonna be a whole problem, bro. I said, you definitely like, you like one of the best male vocals I've heard in a long time. He can do the regular, like, you know, runs, and he can give you that whole quartet type feel. And he has that preacher's voice that you would never like. He takes you in, takes you in. He's definitely a whole problem. He's definitely a child prodigy. I like to see him in the next 5 years be like at like, you know, at a very high level in gospel music, because he's definitely one song away. He's
Mm.
definitely one song away of being
Right.
one of the greatest of all.
Right. And you mentioned, you know, with the industry, it's all about having somebody championing for you and having a hit record with a track record. It kind of, to me, has that feel kind of like pro wrestling, where they choose who they want to put over. And if you're on the undercard and you don't have enough cachet, then it's pretty much hard for you to kind of sort of get your shot in when, like you said, if you're not bringing in the hits, you're low on the totem pole.
That's a fact. I think a lot of people don't really realize that. Like, if you don't have a hit record, you can forget it. You know what I'm saying? Or if you don't have that hit producer or songwriter in your stable, you can forget it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, what you see nowadays and what you hear nowadays, you're seeing a lot of self-contained musical artists. You know what I'm saying? Because music has changed dramatically from the 90s to now. In the matter of fact, late 80s to now. And it's like, if that 808 ain't bumping, you can forget it. And if you ain't got that DJ that you cool with now, or that mogul, so to say now, you're not getting on. You're not getting on. And I think that's what's hurting music today. I don't think they're letting the music speak for itself now, you know, and if you're not, like you just said, you know, if you're not in that circle, that niche, you know, that in crowd, you're not gonna get on. And if you're not doing certain things to get you there or scratching somebody's back, if you will, you're not getting no light. That's what any genre of music, and that's a whole fact. That's what gospel, that's what R&B, that's what pop, that's what hip hop, jazz. It's called the music business. That's what it is. It's the music business, and you have to educate yourself on the music business. This business is based on relationships and who you know, and what you know determines how long you stay in the game. That's a fact.
Right. And we
That's
all
a
know
fact.
about industry rule number 4080.
And what is that?
Record company
I want to
people
hear
are
you say.
shady. Rest in peace, Fife.
I wanted you to say it. I wanted you to say it.
Yeah, man, because all the years of interviewing the people that I've interviewed that have been in the business, it's definitely a business that'll chew you up and spit you out if you're not ready for it. And like you said, you got to know the business inside and out, because if not, you can be having a bad deal and wondering like, hey, where's the rest of my advance? Or why do I owe this much money? And look, try to find a YouTube clip of Left Eye breaking down the contract, because most artists, when you get your first deal, you're going to get taken advantage of. You might as well
That's a whole fact.
get that out your mind. You're gonna get taken advantage of. And when you build some cachet and say, okay, I got 1 to 2 platinum records in, maybe you can renegotiate that contract, say, hey, I want more favorable terms. But first time out, no.
And I agree with that. It took me a while to understand the game. And honestly, you have to know that you're going to get pinned. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get pinned. That's just what it is. But how long you going to get pinned? You feel what I'm saying? So you have to make them believe in your vision. The Bible tells like, write the vision, make it plain. People perish without vision. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you have a vision of who you are and you prove the label wrong, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're gonna get taken advantage of. That's a whole fact. Not saying that it's a right, it's a right way to get. I mean, it makes it right, but you have to make them. You gotta make them see it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to prove that you are who you say you are. I think that's what made Tupac so great, because like he had a bad contract too, from my understanding, for what I was told, but he made the label look at him differently every time, because he went platinum, before all the other crazy stuff. And like they had to go back and renegotiate his contract. I think once you prove yourself, you have something to bargain with, because it's business. You know what I'm saying? And in this business, you're here to sell records. You're not here to like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you want to have integrity with your gift. That's fine. That's great. But you're in this industry to sell records. The label wants you to sell records. That's what you signed up for, to sell records. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a while to understand that. And it's the truth. Like, if you don't have nothing to sell the label not going to invest in you if you don't have nothing to sell. That's why you have to understand it's a contract that's bad. We understand that. But prove your worth. And once you prove your worth, then you can go back to the table and renegotiate a better deal. And I think that's what happened with Boys to Men. They didn't have, I'll put it like this, like, a production deal is not such a bad deal. It's a bad deal if you don't understand the terms of the deal. You know what I'm saying? If you sign a production contract and that production contract is in conjunction with the label, that production contract is basically like a contract saying, okay, we're taking a chance on it. I'm the label. Just to say, I'm the label. I'm taking to that label. I'm invested into you. You got to prove them wrong. You got to show them that we got to prove the label that we got to prove something to the label so they can give us some more money so you can have a better situation. And I think that's why Mike was the template for all that. Bid was the template for all that, because he had a production deal with Boys and Men at ABC. And when Boys and Men did astronomical numbers, they had something to bargain with after that. So once they bargained with Motown to give them a better situation and to like depart from Mike, they kept soaring. They kept soaring. You have to prove your worth. You have to prove your worth. You have to prove your worth. You have to prove it. Same thing with 50 Cent too. He proved his worth. He proved his worth.
Right. And
Proved his worth.
like, yeah, like we mentioned, the first contract you're gonna get done up no Vaseline style. But it's crazy to think with the contract that Wu-Tang had when they signed, with where RZA had them all sign individual deals outside of the main label for the group and say, you're not gonna
Right.
own us. We're gonna own ourselves, and we're gonna have each of us go to separate labels. And this is coming off of RZA when he was Prince Hakeem. He had a failed 12-inch single off Tommy Boy, and then I believe Jizza had released a record with Baby Come Do Me, and then they later
Right.
reformed and came back with Wu-Tang.
Right. I think with those type of situations that you have to have a plan. And in this game, you have to have a plan before you start, asking for the world, so to say. No one's gonna get behind you if you don't have a plan. That's why it's important to like know your worth, know your talent, educate yourself, and steady to show yourself approved when you come into this industry. Because if you come in here thinking that it's all about straight talent and I'm gonna get on that way and not educate yourself on other things about the business, because there's visual, there's it's so many other things that go along with it, I'm saying, that generates the sales. And if you go on tour as well too, that's where you make most of your money, is on tour. A lot of artists don't know that. That's why, if you're expecting to get all these dollars from the record sales, you're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that. You make your money off of tours, you know what I'm saying? And I just think that sometimes, if you have an opportunity to like be that artist, that Beyonce, that Jay-Z, Prince, Michael Jackson, Boyz II Men, if you want to call it, and you're fortunate enough to be, a legend in this game, that's a blessing. But every artist not gonna have that. So you have to educate yourself about the business, know that it is a business. You're here to sell records once you enter into this industry. Doesn't matter what form of music that you sing. You have to have something to bargain with the label so they can get behind you. And if you don't have nothing to bargain with, and they don't catch the vision, you're out of luck. You're out of luck. Right. So it's always good to educate yourself.
Right. And two big things: own your stuff, and if you're a songwriter, keep your publishing. Don't trade it in for that $50,000 advance. Don't do that.
Facts.
Don't play yourself.
Facts. Well, I look at it like this, you know what I'm saying? If you really want to be great in this industry, it's nothing wrong in writing your songs. That's definitely writing songs or being a part of your production and stuff like that. That's great. But I do believe that there's a song and there's producers and songwriters that can bring the best out in you too as well. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta be willing to work with other people, because you're only good as your last hit. You know what I'm saying? So you have to educate yourself about and be willing to think outside the box. Definitely be skilled in everything, with your craft. But don't be afraid to work with other artists. Don't be afraid to work with other producers. You know what I'm saying? Don't be so tunnel vision where like it gotta be all about me. Okay, that's cool. But if you want to win in this game, because it's a game of chance and it's a game of, how can I say it? It's chess. You're playing chess. So that's just what it is. If you're trying to win, be acceptable to everything. Just don't be stuck to one thing. There's acting. There's television. There's commercials that you can still be doing. You could be building your brand. And I think that's what Yvette did. You know what I'm saying? She built her brand. You know what I'm saying? She built her brand. Tupac, Queen Latifah, Will Smith. They did other ventures like build your brand. Just don't just be this type of artist, just recording artist, and just expect the label to do all this work for you. The Bible definitely tells that faith without works is dead. You know what I'm saying? You got to work your faith. You got to meet people halfway. God is not going to do it for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to put the work in too. You know what I'm saying? And just know that, yeah, you're going to get taken advantage of for a minute, but you're not going to be here always. Trouble don't last always. You know what I'm saying? Timothy Wright said it best. Trouble don't last always. You feel me? So you just got to just take it for what it is, man. Just take it for what it is. If you want to win in this game, if you want to win in this game, right. Call it entertainment, because that's right. What it is, entertainment.
Right, definitely invest in that talent and multiply that. Now, after Arista, was there a point where you were like, man, I'm done with the industry and I just want to just go off and do something else? Or were you still determined, like, hey, I'm going to make it in this industry no matter what?
Oh, absolutely, bro. I at one time I looked at it like this. Everybody has a season. You know what I'm saying? You know, Ecclesiastes says it best. It's in the word. You know, every there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. That's a fact. We know that. I'm a man of faith. In that time, you know what I'm saying, when I was let go from Arista, you know what I'm saying, I really wanted to get my spirituality together. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to work on my faith, what kept me grounded, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I went off the rail, if that makes any sense. So I gave myself back to Christ, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a minister now, you know what I'm saying? So but I still believe that I do believe that there's something out there for me, you know what I'm saying, in the R&B field, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm an R&B cat all the way through. That's just what it is. That's who I am. I believe that God don't make mistakes. So I had to go through some stuff in order to be a blessing to so many people. You know what I'm saying? Because this thing of music that God's given me, you know what I'm saying? He's given me, you know, he gave it to me. It's a gift that he gave it to me. And I just felt like I went off track because I think I forgot him in the process of everything because it's like, you know, I lost myself. So I had to be humble, man. I had to be humble. I had to regroup, you know, figure out what I wanted to do. And now I'm making some great records right now. With my partner out there in Dayton, Ohio, named Tyrese, you know, Ty Jams. You know what I'm saying? I met him when I was on Arista because we was doing my album at the time, and he was signed to Stone Creek. You know what I'm saying, which is Boyz II Men's label at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I did when I was on Arista, I was recording most of my album in Boyz II Men's studio out in Philadelphia. So you know, everything happens for a reason, man. I had to get back you know, I had to get back to what made me who I was. You know what I'm saying? I had to seek God's kingdom, you know, understand who he was, you know, and understand my purpose, what my purpose is, you know, and you know, he chose me, you know, to do a work that can bring people to the kingdom, you know, by just being myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I can't be no Marvin Wine. I can't be no Fred Hammond. You know what I'm saying? I can't be Kurt Frank. I have to be Cale. That's who I am. I'm Cale. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that there's a, you know, by being just myself. You know what I'm saying? Will I do a gospel album? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I would like to. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I believe that, you know, God gave me more than just singing gospel or singing R&B. He gave me a voice to reach people. And my lifestyle and the way I conduct myself can win souls to Christ. You know what I'm saying? I'm a regular Mo. I'm the everyday Mo. You know what I'm saying? What you see is what you get. I'm not like a lot of these other people in the game that be faking, putting on airs. Oh, I found you just now, and you know, because the industry did me. Now the industry never did me wrong. It's just that I didn't trust God enough to understand my purpose. You got to find your purpose. You got to understand your gift. You know what I'm saying, and know your place. You know what I'm saying. And a lot of artists today don't understand that, and a lot of people that's in church don't understand that. They don't know what their purpose is. You know, God didn't put me in Michael Bivins, you know, radius for no reason. He didn't put me in front of Clive Davis for no reason. He didn't introduce me to Search and allow me to see Boyz II Men, you know what I'm saying, and all these other great artists at the time, you know what I'm saying, Joshua and Caleb, there's a story in the Bible, you know what I'm saying, they went in the land to see about the giants, you know what I'm saying, because they wanted to take over the land, you know what I'm saying. You can't take over something until you see it, you know what I'm saying, until you see it, and you gotta have vision, and you got to have purpose, and you got to be inspired to do something bigger than what you think that you can't do. And I believe that, you know what I'm saying, when Joshua and Caleb saw the people and saw the land, he's like, yo, we can take them. You know what I'm saying? Everything has a purpose and a time, you know what I'm saying? And the average man has 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. But the man who walks by faith, he has another season. He has a due season. Galatians said it best, 6:9. Let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. due season is the season. That's how I'm living.
Right.
Straight like that.
Right. And you mentioned Stone Creek and recording your album at that studio. Did you have any run-ins with Uncle Sam?
I saw him one time. One time, that was it.
Just kind of like
One
briefing,
time. We
briefing and
never really
passing.
chopped it up though. Yeah, like, hey, how you doing, bro? What's good? How you doing? I'm
Yeah.
Cale, you know what I'm saying? What's good? And kept it moving.
Yeah, just pretty much your standard, what up, keep it moving, and not really no interaction or anything like that. All right. So when you look back, you know, you've been with Biv 10, and then to see that Mike laid the groundwork for what was to later come with what JD was doing in Atlanta with So Def, and what Puff was doing with Bad Boy, and to see that Mike pretty much had the template for all of that. So what do you think about, looking back in retrospect, the legacy of Biv 10?
Well, Mike, well, honestly, bro, seeing all what you see now, it's a blessing, you know what I'm saying, to see like JD doing his thing, Jay-Z, Baby from Cash Money, Puff, they all doing it. They doing it big. But they never would have done it if Mike wasn't the first, if that makes any sense. Mike was the template. He was the it factor at that time. If he didn't have the East Coast family, if he didn't have Boyz II Men, ABC, and Brains, none of the stuff that you see what's going on in the music industry right now would be even, it wouldn't even exist. Mike doesn't get his just due. He don't get his just due. I don't think a lot of people give him his credit, you know. And it's so funny because like we just reconnected maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and we've been kicking it ever since. You know what I'm saying? So like we talk every other day. He said the same thing I said to him. You know, God does everything for a reason. You know what I'm saying? For me to be back in his life, and I'm back in his life, it's a purpose. You know what I'm saying? So that's my big brother. You know what I'm saying? I love him to death. And, you know, I always tell him, man, I said, yo, you the reason that all this is going on right now. All of it. Every last bit of it. You know, and I don't think a lot of people talk about him the way they should talk about him. And I'm not saying that because me and him are cool now, but I just think that his contribution for this industry is not celebrated enough. That's just my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. There'll be no Puffy. There'll be no Jay-Z. There'll be no Cash Money. There will be no Limit if it wasn't for Michael Bivins. Straight up.
Right. So definitely let's give flowers where flowers need to be given. Michael Bivins, also the rest of NE, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Ralph, and Johnny. Mike, I know you got a doc that's getting ready to drop. If you ever want to come on beyond the album cover, Mike, come on down. Come on down. You got a spot, man. If ever you want to come on, I'm putting it out there in existence. So do you have any projects that you're currently working on that should be coming out, or is everything still kind of under wraps and you're just waiting for the ink to dry?
Oh, actually, I'm working with some stuff. I'm working on some stuff right now. Matter of fact, I'm going out to Ohio next month to finish up some stuff with my boy Ty. I got some things in the works, you know what I'm saying, that about to jump on some projects. I'm keeping that kind of hush right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying less. I'm just working right now, bro. I'm working. I'm just, paying the bills, staying focused, and let God order my steps. But right now, you know what I'm saying, I got some good stuff that's about to come out real soon. Mike and I are talking, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say. We'll leave it there. And we're gonna see where the Lord take me. That's all. We're gonna see where God takes me. That's all I can tell you.
All right. That's all I can tell you. And when the ink dries on those other projects, you got a spot to come back anytime, bro.
I appreciate that, my boy. I definitely appreciate you even thinking enough of me to even interview me. What you're doing for artists like myself, giving us a voice, we need that. And I thank you for thinking enough of me to reach out to me, just to share something. If my story can help somebody or inspire somebody because of you, I'm thankful. So God bless you and thank you for that, bro. Yes. I really do appreciate it, man. And best believe, once I have everything done, I will definitely be reaching out to you, bro. Believe that.
Yes, sir.
Believe that.
Yes, sir. And any shout outs you want to give before we conclude your interview, and also plug your socials?
Okay. I definitely want to give a shout out to my family, to my brother, To my boy, John Hallman, you know what I'm saying? My partner, Ant Miller, my boy, Mike Bizzle, Drew Dixon. I love you to death. That's Via. My homeboy, Ty, you know, my musical partner, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you. I love you so much. To my church family, CBC, you know, Community Baptist, you know, to my pastor, and to Mike Biv, you know what I'm saying? Biv, I love you. Thank you for still being my big brother, you know, and to the rest of the world out there, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Be ready, because it's coming to a city near you. Believe that.
He's
Believe
gonna,
me.
yeah,
Believe me when I tell you that.
yeah, he's gonna bring that heat. And you can catch this interview on all streaming platforms and on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/beyond the album cover. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big salute, round of applause to Mr. Voice, Cale. Cale, thank you so very much for coming on, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Like I said, best be ready. Best be ready, because I'm coming. I'm coming. I got some stuff coming out real soon. And again, thank you. Thank you for even taking the time to speak to me, man. I greatly do appreciate that. God bless you. I
Yes,
definitely do
sir.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.